Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, B-Man Cars. We are going to start the tune-up process in the old 85 Dodge pickup truck. Got some parts for it. First thing I'm going to do is do the transmission service. And these are the parts for that. Just a couple of gaskets there for the pan and the filter. So it is Wix filters, 58707. And it did come with the gaskets, very convenient. And then we got the spark plug wires, distributor cap, and these all parts, all of them I ordered from rockauto.com. They're pretty good on prices. I always like their prices. So we got the wires, we got the wire hookups there, a couple of different rotors, and the distributor cap for the 5.2 V8. Nice and new. So we're going to start off with the transmission service. One more thing I haven't gotten yet, I'm supposed to be getting it in a couple of days, which are the brand new spark plugs. I went with the little upgraded ones, I think they're the platinum or the iridium ones. But I always go with Bosch. They're always pre-gap, so we're going to get those in a couple of days. But I am going to start off with the transmission today. Now let's get underneath that truck and start taking off that transmission pan, and we'll go from there. Alright everyone, we're down here below the Dodge. We're going to take off the transmission pan. Now, we're not going to completely take it off. We are going to take off these 4 rear ones, which sits in the rear, and then slowly open up these ones, loosen them, but keep these on at first. Once this seal breaks, then we can slowly undo these without taking them off completely, so that the pan goes into a downward slope and we can get most of the transmission fluid out that way. And I do have a big pan right here, a cat pan, as you could call it. So let's go ahead and loosen these up. You're gonna need a size 13 socket. Let's start getting these bolts off. We'll let this thing drip a little bit. Whatever's left of the transmission oil, you can collect that, and we'll go inspect this pan here. So take the pan out, and I'm actually very surprised how clean this pan is. I mean, compared to the other cars I've done before. And the problem is this gasket, I mean, it's nice and tight. I think what they did was they used a cork gasket and they put RTV around it to keep it in place, but they only put RTV on one side of the gasket, and I think that's what was leaking. So what we have is a rubber gasket and I'll be using that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this old gasket off, clean it up, get all this stuff off of the magnet. It's not much compared to the other cars that I've seen, but it's there. So we'll clean this up, put the new gasket, and we'll install this back. We'll let that thing drip a little bit more, catch all the rest of the transmission fluid, because it's actually a really good color. So alright guys, so cleaned up the transmission oil pan. It's the magnet in there. Came out nice. All that RTV that was used for the gasket, took that off, smoothed this out. Yeah, I'm really surprised. Everything else looks pretty good on this thing. Even the filter's pretty new on the vehicle, but the thing is, since I already bought this one and I have this thing opened up, I'm just gonna go ahead and use it, so might as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that surface prepped up for this thing, and next step we'll put the new filter in and put some RTV. I'm thinking about putting RTV on both sides of this thing, on the pan, put the gasket on there, and putting a thin layer of RTV on top of the gasket. I think that will seal it a little bit better, so I'm thinking about doing that. Let's go ahead and prep the transmission, and we'll go ahead and change that filter and put this thing back on. Alright guys, we got the new filter on. Scuffed up the surface there, cleaned it, scuffed it up, and I went ahead and prepared the pan with the new gasket, and I did go ahead and put RTV on both sides of the gasket just to give it some extra protection there against leakage. Nice and slowly put this in. I'm gonna put a couple of the bolts on first. Recommended, we will leave this overnight to harden before we add any oil. And I wasn't planning on putting the oil back until I get the oil changed and the rest of the things I needed to do, which is the spark plugs and the wires and the distributor cap. So this part of the tune-up is done, and we'll go to the next one in the next video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.